Forrest Gump is not even close to.
No.
Like Forrest had like a half dozen pretty impressive skills. He was great at ping pong. He was really fast at football. He did what is a baffling ultra marathon across the country, seemingly. Came up, designer, the smiley face guy. That was an accident.
He was a ship's captain and a multimillionaire.
You added
his book. So he was a good investor and a ship.
That was one of my favorite parts of the story, is that Forrest was the only shrimper who was dumb enough to be out shrimping in the hurricane.
Yeah.
So his was the only boat that survived because everyone else was lost at their, moorings or whatever. And then now he owns the whole shrimp industry because he's the only one with a fucking boat left floating. I like that little part because it kind of made sense. Some of the other stuff, it's like, I don't know.
Have any of you guys ever read the book?
I read the sequel.
Dude, it's one of the worst books I've ever read in my entire life. He's in the book, he's a math savant. He becomes the world chess grandmaster. He goes to outer space. Whole kit and caboodle. He becomes a professional wrestler and a rock star, smokes a lot of pot. It's insane. And it's very, very loosely related. It's amazing to me that they took that and cut out the garbage acid head part and made it into one of the best American films ever. Because that movie the book's a clusterfuck.
In the book, was he more or less retarded than in the movie?
More. He was basically like non-functioning other than math. He was pretty much at the point where he stumbled into all of these things. He was a hyper genius for math, and that's why he got sent into space. And then he crash landed on his way back from space and lived in the jungle with cannibals, where he learned how to play chess from one of the cannibals, and then went on to win the Grandmaster Championship because it was a math problem in his head.
The cannibal tribe knew how to play chess.
They had chess. Yes, they had chess. And he also learned how to sign language with a chimpanzee that lived in the jungle with him.
So that tribe skipped some steps in like the Civ pipeline where like they just like, no, we don't need pottery or archery. Just straight to strategy games. Yeah.
It was like they had some kind of leak, they had like fabric clothes and things. They'd had contact with society or something. And it was just the most absurd. And I remember reading it and going, how did they make this movie out of this? What genius had this vision to go take out the stoner parts and you got an amazing story here? Because the rest of it's in it. The movie is in the book. There's just way more.
I was shocked by what a foul mouth Forrest Gump had in the second book.
There's a second one?
Yeah. I wanted to know what happens next. That's why I read it. Like I watched the movie and then I was like, I need to know more about Forrest Gump.
When does he stop running?
It was a terrible second book. It sounds like it was right there with the first. He cursed a lot. He became a pig farmer. He had some brilliant idea to put the poop in a cave system, but then the methane gas like caught fire and exploded the entire city. Like from below, and all the poop came over everyone, and the landscape was destroyed.
It turned out the mine was full of gold.
That sounds about right.
You want to hear a sad story? I heard this today. It's
how sad.
It's a little depressing. So in the 60s, this guy became the first person to ever circumnavigate the globe in a sailboat solo. And he made a pit stop in Australia. He left England, went all the way down Africa, past Australia, around Cape Horn of South America, and then back up, right? It's by himself. And nobody thought it was going to be a big deal, but the public really clung on to it. It became a big news story. And the newspaper that had paid him a very small amount, actually, for his story did bonkers sales because they had the guy's story that they could print and publish. So they were like, we gotta get some more of this. We've made a ton of money off this guy. It didn't cost us anything. Let's sponsor a new race around the globe. But this time, no stops. That'll be the new thing. And we'll like whoever gets the best time gets $70,000 in adjusted monies. And
monies.
So it brought out the best in the world, like a dozen of the best solo fucking sailors in the world. They had these wild accomplishments that they had all achieved in various fields of sailing. One of them had been in the Navy for many years, just all sorts of stuff, except for one guy. This guy needed the money. Okay. This guy was an Englishman who he had a business selling navigational gear for boats. It was failing. And the loan that he had taken out to start his business that fed his family was being called upon by the man who'd given it to him. And he's in this real pinch where he can't pay that man. He can barely feed his family. But here's this opportunity. He's an engineer by trade. or by education. And so he tells the man who's wanting the money back, I don't have, but here's what we could do. I can win this race. I'm an engineer. I can design a boat that's better than anyone else's boat. I can sail it more efficiently than anyone else can. I can win this $70,000 and more. And the guy thought about it and was like, yeah, all right, I will pay for your boat. I will, wherever you need, I'll build your boat. You do the race. But if you don't win, you pay me back for the boat. So now it's a no-lose situation for this guy. You know, whether he wins the race or not, this guy's getting his money back. He's happy to do it. So he starts building the boat. But it's quickly getting to the deadline for when he needs to leave. Everyone's left at different times, but there's a window. They're going to time you. But they're like, all right, from May to October, you know, in those 5 months, you leave. And I think the prevailing winds or currents or tides or something have something to do with it. It's like, hey, you know, this is our window to do this thing. It's a 10-month race. It's a 10-month race. Solo. Okay? Because we're not stopping in Australia this time. So the newspaper wants to make a big deal of this thing. They get everybody fired up. They got like 100,000 people there to crack bottles of champagne and see this guy off. And he is fucking terrified because the boat's not ready. The boat's not ready. And he's begging his wife without saying it out loud to give him an excuse not to go. She says he cried all night the night before in bed, weeping aloud. And I said nothing. And she's like, I should have said something because he kept saying, boat's not ready.
What a bitch.
The boat's not ready. So they're like, hey, how about we want you to leave from this port, not that one. And he's like, why? It's 100 miles extra from me. I'm like, yeah, no, but that's where the crowd can get biggest. We can put there's a hotel there for everybody to stay. And there's a big port that everybody can stand and see you leave. So they did that. 100 miles is nothing. We're going around the fucking planet. It's supposed to take 3 days. 2 weeks later, he hadn't made up those 2 weeks. And everybody's like, oh shit, this is our guy. This is our guy? Because everybody else is like halfway to the bottom of Africa. So he takes off and he's right away. Something breaks. Like as he's leaving, they're like, oh, look at that. That broke. He fixes a little, takes off over the horizon. Things continue to break. They have his journals, his log books. It's just like one thing after another. Another screw fell out of the wheel down to 2. Just all this crazy shit. Like he's using Morse code. I don't know how that works in the water, but somehow he can communicate with that back to England. I really don't know how that technology works in the 60s, but basically he's taking on water and he knows he is. He's getting like 30 gallons a day. And it's trimaran in one of the Morans, what do you call them, the pontoons or whatever. Yeah. And then 75 gallons are leaking into the boat every night when he rests. But he can't quit because it's this huge embarrassment. He's terrified to fail because they've got the whole country invested in him. They're cheering his name back home. So he realizes he can't win. He realizes he can't even make it to like around Africa. So he basically decides that if he fakes his logbooks and pretends like he went around the world and just hangs out in the southern Atlantic for months and months, then when the other guys come around, he can just fall in behind them. And he doesn't want to win. He just doesn't want to be humiliated.
He just wants to finish.
He wants to finish. And he figures like nobody's going to look into my logbooks that heavily because I'll be like 8th place. There's a dozen of us in the race. 4 drop out right away. Then 3 more sink. Then finally, the 4 remaining make it around Africa. And this guy's losing it. He's been at sea for months and months in the South Atlantic by himself, treading water, basically, chilling. And he's like, oh, finally. He radios back home, lets them know, like, I'm in 4th place or 5th place. I can't win, but I can finish. And they're like, disappointed, but it's okay. And then the Frenchman who's in the lead says, making sailing a contest is against everything that sailing's about. And he turned around and he started sailing around the world in the opposite direction. He said he wanted to do it again. And he did. Badass motherfucker.
Damn, the French guy was cool.
And then, so now there's like an Englishman and like some other guy still ahead of him. One of those guys, they both like sink or quit. And so now it's just him. Oh, one of them makes it. The other one sinks. And now everybody's looking at him. He's going to win. Like based on where he's telling him he is.
Because one guy was prepared for it and took a smarmy French approach and turned around. Like the other 11 sank.
And so you can see in his logbooks, he realizes they're going to find me out. I can't go home. So he sails west and he slowly goes insane. And his writings in the logbooks are like something, it's like poetry mixed with the insane ravings of a madman and a mathematician. So he's so smart that there's like these equations everywhere. And I'm sure they mean something. Like they said that cognitively speaking, it was much more difficult, all of the forging the logbooks, than actually just navigating around the planet. They're like, that's a hard thing to do, navigating around the planet. But what he had done, forging all those logbooks and the math required, was way more difficult. They found his boat, wasn't in it. They got his journals, and they sold them to the newspaper.
Oh my God!
His family got nothing.
Of course.
And, what shitty newspaper was this?
Some
need to boycott.
I don't recall which. It was so sad, but they've got
Taylor will never buy that paper.
Not once will I buy the Washington Post of 1805. Oh my
God!
Yeah, that sounds like no one was ready for this race.
It's 1960 something. It's like mid 60s.
Oh, so like well into the time that sailing around the world is like whatever.
They were the first people to do it. Like you're doing it
in a sailboat. In a sailboat. Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, by yourself in a sailboat.
Kyle's saying that people hadn't been doing it solo until then. Oh, by the way, ham radios can bounce the signal off of the atmosphere, and it just ping pongs off the Earth atmosphere and goes far beyond line of sight.
Did they use Morse code using that?
Yeah, it's part of the ham radio. I have a ham radio license. I'm kind of a Renaissance man, and you have to learn Morse code to get some of the higher levels of ham radio license.
Oh,
if he's already cheating his way through the entire race, like why wouldn't he just be like, easier than forging these books is just pretending to have lost them. Hey, I was taking on so much water, it soaked my logbook and it destroyed it. Like that is so much smarter than, but also I like the idea that if I'm ever in a situation like that, I'm absolutely making up math and writing it all over whatever place I am. And like, how long do you think?
And he'll be like, nah.
Like, there's a lot of threes in that section. You can tell that he just kind of got bored.
Honestly, if one of us was writing the crazy math, they'll call Miss Jones, the third grade math teacher, and she'll be like,
nah.
Yeah, right.
All they need to know is like order of operations, and like this guy's retarded. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I would draw something that looks like math.
Yeah, like what you imagine math looks
like. Doing basic algebra.
It seems like a good career move if you're in Hollywood to go Scientologist.
It used to be.
Not anymore?
I don't know. They got the raper from that 70s show, so that's a clear sign their power is not what it once was.
Masterson was a Scientologist? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a Scientologist.
They were covering it up and hiding it through the years and telling the women that they needed to go for like auditing or whatever. Like, oh, he apologized. What's the beef?
Wow.
They would literally have meetings like that. Like,
well, here's
your raper. He's here in the meeting with us. I know I didn't tell you to be here, but surprise. He's got something he wants to say to you.
I'm sorry.
And it's like, I'm very sorry that your body thetans influenced mine and forced them to influence me in the way that they did so that, your aura was inflicted upon, and no one likes that. So sorry, or whatever.
No one likes
that. Like, well, case closed, right, honey? And it's just like,
well, we can't paint all of Scientology like that because of a few bad eggs. Tom Cruise is a Scientologist, and he's an American hero.
Yeah.
Is he?
Touche.
Yeah, he's an American hero. He's in those movies I haven't seen that upped, military enrollment or something.
That's actually true. Tom Cruise has done more for the armed forces than the average person by a factor of a million,
general
right? Like, I bet he's gotten so many people to sign up for the Navy, or the stupider people to try to sign up for the Air Force.
Wow. I never thought of that before, but yeah, he plays a lot of military roles, huh?
There's a lot of guys driving trucks for the Air Force because they watch Top Gun.
Sitting behind a desk somewhere.
I want to be like Tom Cruise. They're like, that's actually the net. Yes, I'm right here.
I was going to say, do you think that, because naval aviator to me is as cooler than Air Force?
Yeah.
And that might be because of Top Gun.
I think that I don't know how it works, but I would just guess that like those are the guys who get to do shit a lot of the times. Like if you're on an aircraft carrier, they might sell you up within striking distance of wherever the fuck I stand, and you get to fly off some missions, then land back on the boat and eat like real chow and sleep in your cot. And that's all. That's almost as good of a gig as those guys who are out in Vegas, fucking dropping shit with a drone, and then like going home that night to their house, drinking beer in the backyard. Like, smoked a lot of Afghanis today, honey. A lot of them.
That's got to be a not very fulfilling way to go to war, though.
You serious?
Like, because you
like Call of Duty, I guess.
The way that like that
Predator
like,
missile inbound.
Imagine like a SEAL Team 6 guy or like a combat Marine is like at the barbecue you're at, and he's giving his war stories, and you're like, yeah, there was this one time my internet almost went out.
The Wi-Fi flickered and almost bombed the daycare.
Yeah. And one time the internet did go out.
That
so
Navy
I had to go
SEAL
get
is going to
Chipotle.
be like, dude, I went there, shit got real. I got 3 kills. My team got 18 kills, and we got out. And he's like, 18 kills for your whole team? That's a slow day for me.
Yeah.
You know how many weddings I took out last month?
Yeah.
Those Arab weddings are packed.
And he took out all of them with approval of
some of those guys have crazy kill records for sure. That's what I would want to do. That's the number one job in the military, if you ask me. It's operating a drone from safety, wherever that is. Like maybe you got to be in Germany, or maybe you've got to be like quasi in the battlefield. Like it's right over that ridge. That's where they are. But like you're still the safest guy. Out there.
I don't think you should be able to. Yeah, I don't think they should be giving out medals for the drone guys who are like in Texas.
What?
Like what?
I don't know about
Purple Heart. You fucking my ACL.
My carpal tunnel.
You get a paper cut.
You're gaming so hard.
All right, Purple Heart for drone operation is hilarious.
I love that idea. I like that you would fake a thumb injury or like a hangnail to get one.
You get $4,800 a month for the rest of your life because you hurt your thumb on the keyboard.
Because that's how it works if you're in, like, I'm sure you've seen those examples. There's the one guy in Band of Brothers, I think, who's got 4 Purple Hearts, and one of them was for lancing a boil on his ass that he got while in the field fighting the enemy. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't think we're going to count that boil on your ass. So, hey, I shed blood in service of my country in the field of battle. Say I didn't. Well, you're actually
technically.
Here you go.
Yeah.
I heard that in Vietnam, that medals got much easier to earn. It was part of like a morale effort.
And there were way more people, percentage-wise, who were injured and wounded, right? Than World War II.
The amount of time that they were in combat was way more. Yeah. So I'm sure it was both. I'm sure they're like, hey, we don't have any bonuses or beer, but we got medals. Can we go home if we get a medal? Oh, no. We're going to need heroes for the fight ahead.
And also, people were protesting Vietnam, like it was not a popular war at all. So makes sense. They might start dishing out the medals, I guess. Try and make people feel like, oh, we're rewarding the soldiers, Stop spitting on them, please.
I think Vietnam's my second favorite war. Like World War II takes the cake. Like that's the fucking goat.
Wait, all-time wars? Both of your top 2 are in the 20th century? Oh, okay.
Okay, American wars.
No, like Napoleon's fucking champ.
That was a cool war.
You gotta go back to that.
He was the champ.
champ. Like he conquered Europe, and they were like, get out of here. And he was like,
he became the king of Italy at one point, just throwing another W in the mix.
You know what they did to him after he slaughtered all of Europe a couple times? They gave him his own island to retire on. Like what the fuck? Like get out of here.
Yeah, they banished him, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Banishment to his own private island with like a castle on it.
It's like a war hall of fame that he got to go live there.
But Vietnam is.
I didn't know he had servants and stuff.
That's a silver medal war there. Now I know people like to say, oh, America lost. Come on, by what measurements did we lose? I don't think we ever lost a battle. Kill death ratio, battles won. All right, we all show up here and we fight it out.
Yeah, I feel like Kyle's playing for
still here and they're all dead.
And the Vietnamese played for wins. So at the end of the day,
they played domination.
They owned more land. They won domination, and Kyle got a good KD and thinks he did well, but you didn't.
But what if the ultimate goal of why we went to the war? Are we trying to? And I'm not saying that specifically for Vietnam. I mean, in general, would that not be considered the victory, is to obtain what your initial military goal was? If that's toppling an empire, whatever it may be, taking over a capital city. However, if you don't achieve that goal, it then defaults to the KD ratio and domination. And by that, we won big time, baby.
Yeah, it's our space race.
If you look at Vietnam today, they're democratic, and I'm sure they've got, or not. I don't know if they're democratic or not, probably, but they're definitely on. They're capitalist, right?
Yeah.
And they seem to be on team us. It's interesting. I always hear that when Americans go there, they're like, "Hey,
don't shoot,
my cousin."
I had to look it up.
Welcome back.
Vietnam is a socialist republic with a one-party system led by the Communist Party. So that's pretty.
That doesn't sound good.
I mean, to be fair,
that is an L.
I'm down with that and all. I get that, but I also say that most communist countries or quote unquote communist countries have no choice but to engage in some form of capitalist trade with capitalist countries, you know. So they're like functionally, they're capitalist, but in regard to oppressing their people, they're socialist.
Yeah,
but if all it takes to like qualify as capitalist is like some form of trade, then every nation is capitalistic.
That's a good point. Yeah. I was thinking more of like the global market of exchanging currencies and things as opposed to, them trying to be self-contained and we can take care of this ourselves. But that's a very good point. I mean, bartering is bartering. It is a part of all trade systems.
What surprised me, the third largest weapons exporter on the planet is South Korea.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Russia than South Korea. Apparently,
they got Russia and then South Korea?
Yes. For export.
South Korea is probably going to be ahead of them this year. No. I saw that I think Prada is designing the NASA's new spacesuit. I'm almost positive that's accurate. You want to bet me on that one?
Can they just go back to the moon? Can they just go back to the fucking moon instead of getting stylish with it?
I totally believe you.
I mean, they need some new drip to go to the moon, man.
They design shit,
they need a moon outfit
in 2025.
Who would you? I mean, I'm hearing Prada, and I'm like, it sucks. Don't they make ridiculous? I want Tommy Hilfiger to make it. Aren't they the people that did the Nazi uniforms?
No, Hugo Boss.
So.
Hugo Boss. I'm sorry, take it back. That's who I want. Hugo Boss to design the spacesuit.
I'd be okay with a Carhartt spacesuit. If I'm going to space, I want Carhartt involved.
Tell me you're Southern without telling me you're Southern.
I want a spacesuit that's there for the long haul. It might not be stylish, but it's going to keep me alive on the moon.
So Prada is designing these. That's not even cool.
Why are we surrendering right away, Prada?
That's a French astronaut.
Fucking losers.
They got
let them know it's for the American space program, not the French.
Yeah, the white flag.
Yeah, I mean, we've been had if these are our new astronaut uniforms.
It needs some you know what? If I were to design a spacesuit, it would have stripes that give the astronauts a nice V shape.
Yeah, taper that waist.
Mm-hmm.
They look like sloppy idiots up there.
These guys look like Brock Lesnar without muscles.
I want them to have some.
That looks more like what I was expecting.
That's definitely better. Oh wait, this is China.
This looks like what the villains wear for sure. I don't like this a bit. Like that looks like the bad guy in a video.
There's the green guys,
right? Yeah, he's got too many eyes.
Too many eyes.
Yeah,
it's just glass.
I see. I don't know. I see three little light things. I'm thinking they're eyes.
Well, that would be embarrassing if we paid Prada to design our moon uniforms, and China, who is probably just beating people until they design something they like, and they have better ones than us.
And they look sick, and we look like nerds.
They look cool, and we look like stupid nerds. That's exactly right, Josh.
On the moon?
Yeah, we don't want to be nerds. Already, every astronaut is a fucking nerd. Exactly. So we need to make sure that they look cool up there, so they inspire.
We need to go back. No more scientists. Let's bring on the test pilots.
Yeah, let's teach oil drillers to go to the moon.
Genius idea.
That's a good idea. Lumberjacks, like a cooler class of people. You just send one or two of those guys up with the astronauts. They handle the boring math, and then you have a compelling story of a normal guy traipsing about.
There's no way they do math up there. There's no way they do math up there. There's just no fucking way.
You don't think so?
And if they had some math to do, I mean, I call a guy who can do math, right?
All the guys on Earth with the calculators.
Like, why do we need the math guy in the space capsule? Is all I'm saying.
I guess you're right.
I have fun as me as an astronaut. Where this is the worst astronaut we've ever had. Whenever there's a problem, he just defines it as incalculable and moves on.
Yeah. Well, he covered every wall of the International Space Station in incomprehensibly dumb math.
Traveler's log.
A lot of multiplication signs. Like it's like just like what a child would do. It's like 9 times 11 divided by 4 plus 6. It's just the basics. It's just the basic
Long
that anyone could do with order of operations. That's what it would be.
Am I the only one who doesn't care at all that they found Tupac's killer?
I didn't know they found Tupac's killer.
I mean, I think it's interesting. There was an arrest made apparently for Tupac's murder. Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard about that.
They got to Tupac apparently.
I guess I didn't care enough to read the article, and I wonder how they opened the cold case again. Did they get tipped off, or?
I heard them go through it. They were talking about they had known that this guy was in the area. Like they've got a real good timeline of where so many people were, because there was some event going on. Forgive me, I don't remember exactly what everybody was doing that night. But there was like a thing in Vegas, like a show or a performance, and they got it tracked down to where everyone was, during that period of time. That was all the celebrity people and their entourages and stuff. And I guess they had always thought maybe something of this guy, but I didn't care either. I just didn't care, not even a little.
I mean, it's cool or whatever. But I mean, he damn near.
If it was Jada Pinkett, now that would have been great. Like, because Jada Pinkett Smith was the one that had killed Tupac, and they arrested her
for snitching about them having sex.
I could get on board with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Revenge.
I mean, yeah. Will Smith is just.
I mean, now years down the line, back then I was like, come on, surely Jada didn't do that and all, now we have more information a couple decades down the line.
Yeah, she's just an awful person. Apparently, like she's a lot more stand by your man kind of gal.
It looks a lot more realistic with a couple more decades of life living after that.
Yeah. So I was looking, Josh, at your Twitter, just poking around what you've been up to. So we talked about the Mexican alien shit a few weeks ago when that got big, and immediately me, Woody, and Kyle were like, "This is horse shit, ridiculous, like clearly not real." Did you come down differently? Did you think for a bit that it might be legit?
Oh, I immediately thought it was bullshit. That's the first thing that I thought. However, once I saw the further scans and stuff, and with allegedly, them offering these new findings of these supposedly different ones that don't have the backwards fingers that I see going around, I look forward to seeing other people investigate it. I don't think it's a waste of time. I'll say that much. As much as people, I got really attacked on Twitter for that because everybody thought I was saying I thought they were real. I don't think they're real. I think there's a lot of suspicious shit surrounding it. And I definitely think that they need to release them to some actual people that I trust, like let Harvard or something see it. And they're apparently taking steps towards that. All that I wanted to say on Twitter was that people saying these look fucked up. I was saying that what they're saying is thing that is theoretically, allegedly not from Earth doesn't look like it's from Earth. Therefore, it's fake.
But it did look like it was from Earth.
I thought it looked too much like it was from Earth. It had little nostrils.
Oh my God. That thing looks. All right. If you were buying those at Home Depot as Halloween decorations, you'd be like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm not paying $15 for this. It doesn't even look like anything. They are so garbage. They look so fake. They're clearly some sort of cast fucking stone or something, or paper mache. They're bullshit. And like they should. Those were scans from before, and with the eggs on the inside and that stupid thing in the chest. Look at that. Why is its head shaped like that? Like that's a huge so brain, silly.
Man. That's what I'm saying. It just don't look like it's from
That's what ET's head. Can you show us ET's head?
It's a lot.
It looks exactly like ET.
If they showed me a squid, like a big squid thing with like a fucking wearing a leather suit, and had an iPad in its tentacle or something that looked like it was made to be held with a tentacle, I could believe that.
That's better. Right here. This is better than that. Like that.
And I'll tell you this: everybody says that thing is like friendly looking, and they loved it. That thing scared me as a kid. If I saw that in real life now, I'd beat it to death. They'd be like, war has begun with the fucking Neptunians because
blow up the earth.
Kyle killed one with his bare hands because it came at him in his backyard.
Dude, if I were in charge of the fake alien psyop and they like brought that little like paper mache nonsense to me, I would be like, guys, I am not going to let you humiliate me here. With this, back to the drawing board. You have it have 4 fingers like a Simpsons character and little nostrils and like a chin and eye. Like, no. We need to, get back to the drawing board here.
That's better.
No way we're
That's
doing
better.
It's not a lot better. It's clearly a person.
I mean,
with
that's
a helmet on.
That's somehow worse.
It's clearly a thing that's alive. That other thing was fake. This is a person, at least. I'm open to the idea there being some like aliens or maybe some sort of alien technology. Like maybe they sent one of those the von Neumann probes or whatever, the ones that replicate over and over.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
and maybe they sent a little probe here and it's just zipping around. I could believe that maybe. I don't know. There's hair on that one. What the fuck are we?
Well, that's just
It's a
person.
mummy, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
That's just
or not a mummy, but
That's just a person with
partially preserved.
They like
sitting
drop,
with their knees by their head.
drop
right?
Frank
Like in
Reynolds'
a
wheel.
yeah, they're like all bundled
Yeah,
up.
they're-
Like maybe they used to. Interesting, the hair though, huh?
You know,
It
if
is
I
interesting.
ever,
I know that
rot,
hair doesn't rot that easily,
Mm-hmm.
but that's really intact.
Yeah, I don't believe that's real either. I mean, those knees look. I've never seen a body that had kneecaps.
oh, like they haven't fallen off yet. You mean like
I never
what's
thought of
going to
that.
hold those?
It looks
in?
so silly. I don't know what we're looking at, but that doesn't look like a real thing to me either.
No, that looks fake. Also, if
Like-
if
like,
you
how
guys
did they
like
get
ever, go ahead.
There's like fragile, supposedly ancient pottery below that. How did they get the dirt out of that without shattering what's clearly broken, fragile pottery? It looks like
Very
somebody set up
slowly. Maybe. I
No,
don't know.
that looks fake. Fake.
That's what they do with archaeological digs. They go real slowly with a brush and stuff, you know.
What- If they had a piece of an alien, if they had an alien body that looked real, like I could get on board. But everything I've ever seen looks so silly, just so silly, and not even close. The stuff that's compelling is that footage from like what is it, the Teddy
Bigfoot?
Roosevelt or whatever, that naval vessel that's got the thermal camera right on the fucking weird top shaped flying object, and you've got them like talking like it's moving X amount of knots, blah blah blah. Indeterminate.
Oh, yeah, like the
blah,
UAP
blah, blah.
videos.
Like yeah, they're talking about it, and they're naval officers who are clearly confused about what they're looking at. That's compelling. I don't know what the fuck they're looking at either.
Oh, like that guy who was flying around up in the air and like stuff kept popping up on his radar and it was moving in ways that they didn't know how to understand.
That might
Similar
be part
to
of it,
that.
but I'm talking about the video of the.
It was a Navy video that he's talking about. I
I'll
think.
just call it the spaceship, the video of the fucking spaceship for the long one where they're tracking it for minutes and minutes. And then instead of being like this, it completely changes its orientation and turns like sideways, like longer,
I
top
wonder-
to bottom.
Like, did they see it with the naked eye too, or did they see it through the camera and the infrared?
As fast as it was moving, I doubt that they saw it with their naked eye.
I only ask because half of these things get explained by like, oh, it's the way that you're viewing it. Like if you put a speck on my glasses, I'd be like, holy shit, this
Sure.
thing moves in a way that defies fucking physics, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a speck on my glasses. And that happens with lenses. That happens. Lens flare, for example, is like those rainbows you kind of see around lights. But
Sure.
sometimes there are artifacts that like make little bright triangles, on your
Counterpoint.
sensor.
I doubt they were looking at it with a telescope. I bet they were looking at it with the most expensive piece of optics that
In
money
this
can
case.
buy.
Yeah, in this case,
I bet
it
they
was
had-
it was radar
You
equipment.
say it was old?
Like
Something.
a couple years ago. Like there's an
Oh, okay.
interview with the guy that from on the boat, like a naval officer on YouTube. I was watching it earlier. He's like, I was on the Teddy Roosevelt during the Dresden event or whatever. And but so it's recent, and it's again, that to me speaks a little bit to the whatever the fuck is going on of it. Is that if this wasn't some like kid's iPhone that tracked something funny,
Right,
it's
this is
like,
military equipment.
it's the best equipment there is
American
for
and
looking at things
military
flying in the air. It's like,
Mhm.
it's like, what does that piece of equipment do normally? It finds things that fly really fast in the air that don't want to be seen. So it's made for this. Yes. And it's having a hard time. You can't figure out what it is.
Yeah.
We have no idea what that is.
And
The
if we're
thing you're
talking
looking
about,
at
I
is the
hear
thing
ya.
that tells you what things are. It's
I
like,
think my skepticism just has me latching on to any other explanation
Sure.
and believing it over the alien thing.
I think
Yeah.
the most likely scenario is that there's a branch of some branch of the military or someone in our military is using some cool shit and not telling the guys that when it's way below their pay grade. Why would that guy on that boat need to know that they're flying their magical flying donut shaped unmanned vehicle tonight? Maybe
I imagine
maybe
they'd
it's
shut
good
that down though. Like
if you wanted to like test your cool new toy, what's the use in flying it to Russia where they shoot their own shit down and like shoot their own men because they're so incompetent? You'd want to fly it around one of our boats, like who's got the good shit, right? And then that way, if they accidentally shoot you down, it's like, oh, let's go to cover. We're in safe waters and everything. It just seems like if you're testing your new scary shit, you'd test it on your own people.
No, I think you'd want to fly it around Russia and China, and then just like every few weeks you zoot around there a little bit, and then you go back. And then you like hard scope their media and like our spies tell us, and then they're like, really? Nobody saw anything? Russia did see anything? Oh, China saw something. Okay, well now we know they got fucking something over there.
Yeah, I just don't believe in little green men. Mostly because I'm so afraid of them. I can't live in a world where they exist. I remember in Independence Day, there's that newscast you kind of hear in the background. They're warning people not to fire their handguns at the craft. I'd be that guy. I'd be out there. Look, we gotta go.
Hit the crap. Take off, pop it off at it like it's gonna help.
I'm sorry. I saw
this
fire
one
in the sky.
sucks.
This one looks awful.
Like, is this carved out of wood?
That's what I was about to say. It's like ivory or something, isn't it?
Isn't that one weirder? I'm sorry. Isn't that one real?
This?
What do you mean real? Is it
a real? Is in? I don't know that it's extraterrestrial, but they did a DNA test on it and they found it to be 92% like humans. Yeah, at first 8% of the DNA did not match with human DNA. An improved analysis says it matched at 98%. So it's basically a human, or what else matches 98%
mutated
with humans?
Fetus?
Monkeys, mutations.
That'd be 100%, right? I don't know.
It's definitely human. I mean, people have sent in like lizard spit to 23andMe and they're like, you're French. Like people have literally done that. So like, yeah, if this is definitely like a human with.
That's what I was getting. It's human, or I don't know enough about genetics. If you were to say that monkeys match 98%, I'd be like, well,
what
Taylor
is this
knows.
supposed to be? Is there an article to correspond with this? Like
there is. He linked it. It's on CNN. Just above it.
Summarize it for me, Kyle.
Oh yes, instantly.
The entire
I will.
Article. Yeah.
They're
Look at his
comparing
little Glasgow smile on the right one.
It's 6 inches tall. I think it's a 6.
Is it?
Yeah, look at the fabric. You can see the fabric.
Conundrum made by perplexing features. It's only 6 inches tall, but initial estimates of the age of the bones were consistent with a 6 to 8 year old child. 10 pairs of ribs rather than 12.
The fuck?
Okay, well, a human with this level of problems, I'm not blown away by missing ribs.
So purportedly, this was found in 2003. It was found in a deserted mining town called La Noria in Chile's Atacama region. It has thought to be ancient at first, but initial analysis conducted in 2012 proved the skeleton was only about 40 years old. I mean, this is just nonsense. I just don't believe this. This is somebody's dumpster baby.
Why are aliens so heavily invested in South and Central America? Like it's so many of them are like Argentina or Chile or somewhere around there.
Peru.
Like, yeah, Peru. How often is it that a Canadian finds one?
Why is it that
never?
Since we've started having video cameras in our pockets, there haven't been more aliens captured, like on camera? Right? It used to be you'd go camping and people would have like alien abductions. Now that everyone has a video camera, the alien abductions have dropped dramatically.
That got rid of a ton of the horse shit, but it also left some stuff that I don't have a good enough eye to ever tell. Like if you go on the UFO or the UFOs plural subreddits, you'd be like, shit, I don't know if that's all right. So maybe that's an alien, or maybe this is someone really good at editing. I don't know. Like,
but you got to be careful in there.
See videos on there of a craft that like
you can't explain it.
One, and I was like, can't explain that. Better go to the comments. And they're like, this is a commercial from 2019.
yeah.
Like this is a clip from a video game. This is Photoshop. This is editing. And it's like, it's so good.
Dude,
you can't tell. I mean, CGI
things get me a lot. There's some Ukrainian footage of a jet that like dodges 12 pieces of anti-air and then like hits its bomb and zips off into freedom. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is intense. And they're like, that's Arma 4. That you totally bought it. And I did.
I gotta play Arma 4.
Right? Best advertisement ever.
And then there's another one. I guess there's a guy just like, oh, the humanity as gigantic waves roll in. And then he's like, what? There's a person surfing on it. And the wave like comes crashing. You see him, he's killing it. And then he's like, oh no. And then the way like the breaking part of it catches up to the guy, but then he pulls through and gets free again. He's like, oh my God, it's a Powerade commercial. But if you see it, you'd be fooled too. It is outrageously good.
There's an old commercial where there's like some African, might not be a commercial, it's an internet clip. There's like 3 or 4 African like warlord looking motherfuckers with AKs and camo on. And a monkey comes up and they're all, oh, look at the little monkey. And they give it a gun. And they think it's so funny, and then the thing fucking picks the thing up and goes da 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 da, and they're all running from the monkey, and he looks like he's operating the machine gun not well, but like he's figured out if you squeeze it just right, it kills, and then like maybe the cameraman falls over or something like that, and I was like, the fuck was that, bro? Because I don't know,
you fell for that one. I know exactly the video. You thought a 30-pound monkey was wielding an AK-47 like that?
It was not a 30-pound monkey. When he picked it up, it might have been a baboon or a chimp. It was a monkey that could handle a firearm.
So one of a kind.
What was it? Do you know the origin of the video?
I honestly don't, but I guarantee it was a commercial or something. I bet it was like a teaser for a Netflix movie where animals get smart and take over. It was some shit like that.
Animals
the one that didn't fool me, of course,
smart.
The miniature giraffe, like the mini giraffe that was like, ee! Like your pet. That one didn't get me, thankfully. No, you don't get commercials, but I clicked some movie on like Roku or the other day and watched a couple of commercials so I didn't have to buy the thing. And Zaxby's advertised. They have a chicken sandwich. Here's what they do. They took a scoop of pimento cheese spread and put it right in the middle of the sandwich. And then on the bun, they take a squirt of honey and they soak the bun in honey, and then they make the sandwich and wrap it up.
That's disgusting.
It's the pimento cheese and honey spicy
pimento cheese spread.
Gross.
So it's so it's just like emulsified vegetable oil and bullshit.
No, you could see it. There's like bits of cheddar cheese in there. I'm sure they make it there. Chick-fil-A's like about as high quality as it gets, but that sounded like the most unhealthy sandwich of all time. Pimento cheese is just mayonnaise and chicken and pimentos mixed together, as far as I know.
I wouldn't want that sandwich. I agree.
I would try it, but it sounds disgusting. But I've also been shocked before. I've thought stuff sounded like it was going to be nasty, and I tried it, and I'm like, it's actually a pretty good combo. It works. So I mean, I'd take a bite of it, I guess.
I like pineapples on pizza. I don't understand why people don't like that or think that. Like, do you really identify with pizza, or like, is your cultural like relevance? Does it matter to you?
This
what
is
happens to pizza? Like, I don't.
This is the thing I don't understand about the pineapple on pizza argument is if you're like, yeah, I don't like that as a topping. I don't think it should be on there. I think it's gross. People are like, oh, are you some pizza purist? It's like, no, I also don't want Jolly Ranchers on it. I don't want sweet pieces of fruit on
It's not
pizza.
good with Jolly Ranchers on it.
I don't think it's good with pepperoni, or not pepperoni, with pineapple. But if you said that you hated Italian sausage, I wouldn't be like,
there's jalapenos on it too.
This is the best they could make that look.
Look at the honey.
That is how they do it.
Look at the honey peeking out between the jalapenos. It's just a puddle of honey.
That looks terrible.
I mean, I'll take a bite of it, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I would.
He tells you not to worry about.
Look how much. This is like a customer photograph too. It actually does look really good.
That's not bad for legit for a fast food place. I gotta say,
it looks really good.
What's
not a bad bun?
You mentioned Josh. Like what's a food you guys have all, starting with Josh, obviously, that you guys thought would be gross at some point in your life, and then you tried it and you had like a renaissance on that food?
Bro, I have a gnarly one, but I was only like 11 years old, right? We had Chinese roommates whenever I was younger for a while, and they prepared this thing for Easter. They didn't really understand Easter. He knew he got holiday and egg. He didn't speak that great English yet, even though he's going here to Ole Miss, right? And so that's what he gathered. It's an egg holiday. So he made this thing, I think they call them black eggs, where it's like hard-boiled eggs possibly, or normal eggs. Anyway, they completely submerge them in a jar of soy sauce and bury it in the ground for a long-ass time.
Oh, my God.
And then pull it out. Yeah, and when he opened that jar, not only did the entire house smell like straight sulfur immediately, my whole family started gagging. My grandpa was over here like retching over the trash can and all that. And I was the adventurous kid. I said, Josh, give it a bite, man. I ate that stuff until I literally threw up. And now I'm old enough to know that it was probably too much sodium. It was like clear yellow, the eggs. It didn't even look like an egg. It's like a gelatinous clear yellow. And I took a bite of it and it was delicious. It tasted like just kind of salty eggs. It didn't taste totally saturated like you would think. It's like it had only absorbed so much and got saturated. So it was like really salty eggs. And it was terrifying. I'm not going to lie. I thought I was going to throw up, but my whole family was kind of daring me to do it. And I loved it. That's almost exactly what they look like. These ones were a little more transparent.
Why did I don't understand. If it's in a jar, why was it buried?
I'm not sure. I think it's part of the tradition of it. I'm not sure. Or maybe they call them 1,000-year eggs or black eggs or something like that. He didn't live with us at the time yet. He went on to become our roommate.
So no one steals your disgusting eggs.
So no one steals your rancid, rotten eggs.
It might have just been instinct. Just keep it away from everybody. Nobody steal my.
I would say if you're in a culture where that is a delicacy, you're probably don't have a lot of food, so you better hide it.
That looks almost exactly like them.
That looks like what that mosquito got trapped in Jurassic
Park. I was just thinking that looked like the amber. Yeah, it looks like amber.
Damn, I would not want to try that. But I'm glad that you found out that you liked century eggs.
Delicious. I'll never have them again. Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, century eggs. Yeah.
I only know that because like when you watch like a reality show, often that's the thing that's like an early on, like get ready to eat something gross. And then they have to eat a century egg. Okay, that's a good one. That's very unique.
There's a southern dessert, and you take a pear. You cut it in half. You got 2 pieces now. And then you take mayonnaise and shredded cheese, put on top of that, and a cherry in the middle. And that's the dessert. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like pear salad or something. And it is it used to be a very popular Southern dessert. I think it's from a time gone by to some extent. But I've had it. I've had it before. And Zach will find a photo of it. It looks like what I just described.
And you liked it?
You liked it?
Pretty good, it's just
not as bad as you would think.
It's this weird mixture of flavors and textures that weirdly works. I haven't had it since.
My answers are so standard. One, cranberry sauce. I think every child hates cranberry sauce, then grows up to realize it's got something there, a little tang. It can be good.
Like it.
The other is Brussels sprouts, but I'm not sure I actually like the Brussels sprouts as much as I found a place or two that prepares it. It's probably filled with butter and other goodness.
Oh man,
that's
gross.
That looks nasty.
Yum.
No, I don't like that.
You like deviled eggs?
No, I don't like mayonnaise.
I can eat so many deviled eggs.
I
love deviled eggs.
Mayonnaise is a big part of our culture as white people, so you need to get the fuck on board. You're like a black.
I'm not on board with mayonnaise.
Nah, I don't braid my hair. Like Shazan, get the fuck over here and get them braids in your hair.
Taylor, get your mayonnaise.
Either eat your mayonnaise sandwich and get the fuck on, or get over here and get these box braids in. Just Shazan. That's how it'd go down. Like it's part of your culture. It's mayonnaise. So get with it on everything.
No, mayonnaise is not part of my culture. Not my president. Not my condiment.
Not my condiment. Yeah.
Not my condiment.
That's one of the. I saw like a bunch of slurs against white people, and one of them was mayo monkey. Mayo monkey.
That's kind of funny.
Isn't it funny how you can just be like, as a white person, like, who gives a fuck? Like,
dude, white people
they're
all
not
do
even
that.
Good.
Yeah, I can't think of a white person slur that like gets a rise out of a white person.
A 2-word slur. Come on, slur makers. Let's get a little more concise here. Let's get something good.
I heard mayo monkey. It was like, oh, not bad.
Yeah, I laughed at it.
Yeah.
I do like mayonnaise.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's true.
Well, I don't identify with that part of being white. The mayonnaise.
Dude, I fucking love mayonnaise. I put it on everything. I
identify heavily with the cheese part.
I can eat a mayo sandwich, no problem. I could dip fries in it. Like it's not my preferred, but like I wouldn't shrug it. If I had nothing, mayonnaise. Sure.
You'd eat a mayonnaise sandwich.
I would absolutely. I could eat a mayonnaise sandwich right now. I'm a little hungry. Yeah.
There's definitely go for a mayonnaise sandwich, but
I would love a mayonnaise sandwich if it fit into my fucking diet profile. That's the challenge.
Yeah. Mayonnaise goes on every sandwich though. Like
it does.
It's dry otherwise. You know what the fucking English people do? They put butter on there. Like they're making a sandwich and they pick a big smear of warm room temperature butter so it'll spread on the bread, and then they start putting ham and salami and fucking cheese on that shit.
Why are you saying that with like a grimace? Like that sounds so much better than mayonnaise. Butter? You think butter loses to mayonnaise in a head-to-head battle? You're insane.
I know that it loses to mayonnaise in a head-to-head battle as a sandwich condiment. One of them is and one of them isn't.
I would, well, clearly England, like this is the first good thing about English food I've ever heard.
Like when I think about a grilled cheese sandwich, that's the bread is just soaked in butter. That's like the best part of the grilled cheese sandwich, the butter bread.
I don't
Excellent
no
point.
butter on.
Thanks for jumping in on my side.
You think it is, but you're wrong because the best grilled cheese sandwich has mayonnaise inside and outside. You put mayonnaise inside, slice of cheese, and then the outside thin layer of mayonnaise. It browns up on the grill. It's way better than butter.
No, that's what butter does, but better.
No, mayonnaise.
No, butter.
We're at an impasse.
And I need to say that it has to be, there's only one kind of mayonnaise that I consider to be real mayonnaise, and that's Duke's mayonnaise. Any other kind is some sort of weird white sauce that I don't want to be a part of.
Miracle Whip.
Ugh.
That's literally not mayonnaise. It like
sugar fluff.
This fucking Mr. Pinky's up now.
Don't misunderstand. When he says that's not mayonnaise, he doesn't mean it like, that's not football. He means that's literally doesn't.
I don't think it counts.
There's a definition for what mayonnaise is, and that doesn't meet it.
I knew that. I don't think it has eggs in it or something.
To fuck with him.
Yeah.
Marshmallow fluff.
I don't think it has eggs or something.
The best kind of sugar is sodium chloride. Like that's literally not sugar.
Yeah. No, more mayonnaise in your diet. It's part of our culture. It's a wonderful thing, and you should embrace it. Like an Italian not enjoying spaghetti.
Spaghetti's every pasta is easy to like because you can just put all sorts of different flavored stuff and meats on it.
I love pasta. Because of that, it's so versatile.
Yeah,
my issue with pasta is it's often difficult to eat. It comes in 1,000 different shapes, and none of them work that well on a fork or a spoon.
I like masta.
Ravioli goes pretty good.
That's my favorite noodle shape. Zach, pull up noodle shapes. We can have an argument about that for an hour. No, I remember as a kid, like thinking that oysters were going to be disgusting, and after like one of them being like, "This is great. This is fantastic."
They have to be good oysters, though.
I love oysters.
I've had Red Lobster oysters. They were atrocious and a little sandy. And but then I've had really expensive oysters, like at a nice restaurant in like Chicago or in Seattle, or they're just fantastic. They taste completely different, a whole different texture. And then the presentation, frankly, is a big part of it too. I like when they bring me that big 3-tiered silver platter with dry ice. And I remember one place they had dry ice, and then they had lights buried under the dry ice, so that the platter glowed faintly when they put it down, and like the dry ice is making like that fog.
I like that.
And the lights are coming from within it, like underneath all that. And then there's these, the shrimp on one side, and then the crab, and then the oysters and everything. That I love. But yeah, they're disgusting to look at though. They're just awful.
They can look a little rough, but like once you've had enough oysters, like this is gonna be good. Just don't care what it looks like. It's gonna taste great.
It's been about a year since I've had oysters. I think I did like a birthday dinner last year and wasted a bunch of money on some oysters that I didn't like.
I don't think it's necessarily like a fancy man food, but I feel fancy eating oysters. You know what I mean?
I think it is.
Depends on where you live, I guess.
I think it can be both, because I think, I guess it depends what kind of oysters you're eating, right? Like whether you're eating a big pile of oysters or something that's like $10 an oyster or something.
I want high quality oysters.
I used to buy oysters at Kroger when I was like 17. I used to love them shits. Isn't that
they sell oysters?
Yeah, they used to have. No. It was like you put it in the oven, man. It came and they were open shell oysters, and they came in a sauce and a little tray. You just stick it in your oven, man, for like.
Aren't they dead if it's open?
I would eat that.
They weren't fresh. They were like frozen processed, so they were kind of rubbery.
To eat them if they're dead.
Not that I'd heard of. I mean, I never got sick off them that I know of.
I learned that early survival.
That happens.
If they were frozen, I don't know.
No.
I didn't hear what anyone said.
If you buy an oyster, is there ever a pearl in there?
No.
Wasn't in these. They were open.
I've never found a pearl in there. I've actually never dug around and looked.
When you order them, they go ahead and open it up and like clean the shell up, and then they take this tool and sort of separate the oyster itself from the shell slightly. They do a little maneuver to it. Mm-hmm. So if there were an oyster in there, I think they'd catch, or a pearl in there. I'm sure they'd catch it. Look at that. I've seen that in the store, and
that's kind of similar.
I always shiver when I walk past those in the fucking grocery store.
Now I do.
See, this is where we differ.
I
would eat that.
A little mayonnaise on top.
They were good.
No, I'd rather eat 36 of those than one dollop of mayonnaise. I guess that's not a fair comparison because I like oysters and I don't like mayonnaise. I'd rather eat a huge amount of this thing I like than a small amount of this thing I don't.
So, Kyle, I know you have Max. It used to be HBO Max.
How about someone fun like throw Dave Portnoy in there?
Dave Port. Okay. No, all right. So let me say this. I like Dave Portnoy. I like his content, and I watch it always. He's got a mean, petty streak to him sometimes, which you wouldn't want to be the king of the world.
Got the Targaryen in him, huh?
Yeah.
Every now and then somebody will say, remember that guy the other day, it was a pizza owner. He comes out, he's like, hey, eat your pizza and go. How about that? How about I don't like being rated by the likes of you? How about that? I don't like what your business. And he's like, your shirt's 5 sizes too small, you piece of shit. Get the fuck back in there. You know what? 1.2. You just made a mistake. You just made a mistake with your tight ass shirt. 5 sizes too small. Boy, and this business owner in front of his business. And I'm like, I scroll down to see how many millions of people have watched it and are all like, let's get him. Where does he live? I'm like, it's a little too petty.
Ain't that heavy?
My politics don't align with Dave Portnoy, but I've looked past that recently, and I have to be impressed with what he's doing with his life, right? That business move he made, how did he get such a good offer? How did that possibly happen?
I saw him at like an Antifa type thing the other day. They got signs and shit down capitalism or whatever. And he's like, hey, you don't like capitalism? You know why? I bet you never been to a $20 million house in Nantucket. That's where I go. You know, I'm going to go to my $20 million house off Nantucket. You ever been there? It's beautiful. Like almost verbatim. He's telling this poor kid this. He's like, yeah, of course you don't. You never been in a $20 million house in Nantucket. That's where I'm going tonight. See you later, loser. And it's like, man, yeah. I think you're supposed to be above this.
No, that's why he's funny. Is he's not above that. He will just get in the
dude. Aren't you worth 9 figures? Why are you here shitting on this college kid, bragging about your house in Nantucket, which I'm sure is incredible.
He's a content guy, so he's going for that. I would imagine.
I like it. I've always liked.
Yeah, actually, he's my front runner for King so far. Throw Dave Portnoy in the mix.
No, see what happens. Keep doing pizza. That's all I need from Dave Portnoy. I'm happy that he's got so much money. He can be like, you know what? Fuck you. Maybe I'll buy your business and ruin it. It's like, well, all right, hang on a minute. I'll do that. Like, it's scary when someone worth $100 million doesn't like you personally in the street all of a sudden, and you're a business owner, right? Especially when they got a media empire. Yeah. So
there was that really viral.
He doesn't need more power.
Just like a week ago or so that. He found out that some other news organization was writing a hit piece on him before they released it. And he like live streamed himself calling the reporter and like roasted the reporter and like had an argument with her on the phone for like 15 minutes of like, and it was like skeevy reporter shit the lady was doing. He was like, hey, so I'm calling because you fucking said that I'm a bad guy, a bigot, misogynist, whatever, and you're hitting up all of my, because he hosted a giant pizza event for a huge pizza event for a bunch of small businesses that he'd reviewed before to come and set up there so that people could go to this festival and try all these pizzas. And you know, they're all small businesses, they're all pizza places. And he was like, so you guys are reaching out to the companies that I invited to my pizza festival and you're threatening them? You're like saying that things might go bad for them if they don't drop out or like don't give you dirt on me or something. Like, what's the deal with that? And she let off with like, no, that's not true. And like, he was like, really? Because here's an email you sent that was just forwarded to me by one of those companies that says like, and it was literally like the reporter threatening the business being like, you're associating yourself with this person who we don't like at the Washington Post or whatever. This could go badly for you if it were to get out. And it's like, just scumbag shit. And then the reporter was like, well, that's a tactic we reporters use to get a response. It's like, really? You just threaten businesses for associating with someone you don't like? A guy who's like biggest offense as far as I know about Dave Portnoy is like being bombastic and ridiculous. Like, what the fuck? That's just scumbag journalist behavior. Glad he live streamed that. That was funny.